Hi, this is Patty Alexander. I am the PASS manager for Austin Pets Alive, and I want to tell you a little bit about our PASS program today and what it does. The PASS program, PASS stands for Positive Alternative to Shelter Surrender, and we provide help to community members to prevent animals from being surrendered to the local animal shelters. We do this in a number of ways, which we'll go over in just a moment. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of how we got started. PASS was started in 2008 as a hotline. At that time, there weren't a lot of resources, and it was kind of a fledgling program, but they took emails and voicemails from people. They provided people with information and advice. They gave them information on trainers, where to find low-cost vets, and how to find a new home for their pets. In 2010, I took over the program, and we were able to get grant funding for it, and the program began to grow from there quite quickly, actually. The common issues that we see on PASS now are medical emergencies, dogs or cats having an accident, getting hit by cars, things like that, or illness where the pet owner cannot afford vet care. We see change in home life, people moving from apartments to apartments from homes, no longer having a yard, don't have to pay a pet deposit, don't have the money for one, the pet fees, people moving abroad, people being deployed, family members in a financial crisis having to move in with a new person, people having children and maybe their dogs are not child-friendly. All this will cause them to contact us sometimes to help rehome or resolve issues for them. Sometimes we have temporary challenges, people's loss of a job, people between apartments or homes, the owner falls ill or needs some sort of a medical treatment, and they might need to have temporary care for their pets. Another thing we run into is annoying or destructive behaviors from dogs and sometimes cats, and they need us to provide training info for them or some way to resolve their issues so that they can keep their pet. What do we do on PASS? We provide the information for all the things I just told you about. Found animals, we tell people where they can, how to search for an owner, how to have them scan for a microchip, where to post to find the owner, whatever they can do on their own to keep from having to turn the animal into the shelter first thing. We provide information on injured animals and sick animals. Sometimes we raise funds to help those animals. We market them for rehoming. Those that we don't market, we teach the pet owner how to market those pets successfully for themselves and where to place their posts and ads and how to screen successfully. We can also provide pet food and sometimes cat litter. We network on social media. If there's stray or roaming animals, urgent medical funds needed, all that, I've found that social media is an excellent outlet for just about anything. We'll throw posts up, we'll throw up fundraisers and try to find these people some help. We also try to facilitate temporary boarding or fostering for people, organize crowdfunding, which is fundraisers, GoFundMe and Razoo and different ones that we use. We do this for medical emergencies and also to help raise pet deposits for people. A lot of people do not want to give up their pets. They just need a little help financially, and so we try to help them raise that money. I'm going to tell you about a few of our success stories and things that we've done on PASS for some animals. We've had a few. The one that I want to tell you about first is a dog named Bulldog. And Bulldog's owner was living outside of the homeless shelter in Austin. It was very cold, and he could not go inside because he couldn't take Bulldog with him. And he wouldn't turn him over to the shelter. He loves his dog. So his social worker emailed me on PASS and asked if we could find him some help. The man was about to get a job, and he just needed a short-term foster for Bulldog until he could get on his feet. I asked for a photo I did a Facebook post to my network, and I have a network of over 2,000 people on the Facebook page I use for PASS. And within one afternoon, we found Bulldog a temporary foster so that he was safe in a home and his owner was able to get into the shelter and also able to retrieve and keep his dog, which was great. A lot of these dogs would end up in the shelter, most definitely, if we did not have this service. The next dog is Lucky. Lucky was hit by a car late at night in Leander, Texas, which is a suburb of Austin. His owner had no money, and Lucky was in severe pain. She called me on PASS and asked for help. I had her send me some photos of her dog, and I posted them on Facebook. People donated right away to, they called into the emergency vet that I had her take him to. They donated enough to get him x-rays and get him seen and get him some pain meds. When the x-rays came back, they showed that Lucky's leg was shattered in 2 places, and he would need surgery or amputation. So I followed up the next morning and set up a new fundraiser with the amount that was needed, which was around $2,000. And within 3 days, we had raised the full $2,000 for his surgery to repair his leg. He had the surgery, a couple of plates and screws later, and he is back home with his family and doing really well. Another one that we helped was Jailbird. Jailbird was the cutest, he's just the cutest little dog, and he got his name because he was part of a Paws in Prison program. He lived inside a prison and was trained by inmates. So he knew all kinds of cool tricks, and he could even say, I love you. The cutest little video of him that was sent to us with him saying, I love you, was adorable. But a couple of years later, the family that ended up adopting him had a baby. And it turns out that although Jailbird was great with adults and great with other dogs and everything else, he did not like children. So it was just not going well in the home at all. He was completely intolerant of the baby. And they loved him very much, but they had no choice but to try to find him another home. So they contacted me on PASS, and I used Facebook, used the cutest photos ever that they sent me, used the video that they sent me, and it really wasn't long before a foster was found and who was able to keep Jailbird out of the shelter and later find him a great new home. So he is safe and happy in a new home now as well. One of the cats we helped was named Oliver. Oliver is 15 years old and was very loved by his owner, but his owner had MS and became confined to a scooter to move around. It was impossible for him to continue to care for Oliver, but he would not surrender him to the shelter. So he contacted me on PASS to see if I could find Oliver a new home. I posted Oliver, did a little story on how the man had become disabled from having multiple sclerosis, and within a day, a lady saw the post that I did, whose sister had been looking for a Siamese, which is what Oliver was. She also had a soft spot for senior cats. So 2 days later, Oliver had a brand new home. So in going over all that, this should tell you a few reasons on why you should start a PASS program and why it's important for your community. There is such a high need. Without resources, people have no choice sometimes but to surrender to the shelter, and they feel like they don't know. There's a lot of people that don't know how to use social media or even know where to begin to rehome a pet or to find low-cost health care or anything else. And so the shelter becomes the go-to place, which is what we were trying to avoid. So there's a high need, and it's inexpensive and easy to start a program. Basically, if you just want to set up an email system and use Google Voice and then market yourself on Facebook, you're there. And go to your local animal shelter, hand out cards, tell them they can direct people to your PASS program. I'm sure the shelter would appreciate that because the less dogs and cats going in the shelter is always to everyone's benefit. It has an immediate impact on people and pets because the help is there. The help that they've been looking for is finally available. And then community outreach. You're reaching out to the community and actually helping the public to resolve their issues, and then this will keep the pets happy, keep them out of the shelter, and get them the help that they need as well. If you're going to start a PASS program, there's certainly things that you need. It's not expensive to start one, but you do need a phone and a computer and access to a Facebook account. The PASS manager or volunteers must sometimes be available at a moment's notice. I do tend to get a lot of emergencies, and they always tend to come late in the evening, whether it's, as we talked about, dogs hit by cars or, cats that are sick and people can't afford vet care, and emergency vets are very expensive. So, or sometimes I get dogs that need foster almost immediately if somebody is taken very ill and needs to go into the hospital right away. Their dog or cat gets left in the apartment. So you need to be available at a moment's notice. You have to be a resourceful person because you're going to have to really think out of the box and find help sometimes where there might not be help. You just have to think of different places to reach out to. Be really strong at networking because it's your network that will help you the most. We've gotten to the point now, if we put something on Facebook, we have such a strong network that everybody just steps up immediately to help, and it's so nice. You need to be a good listener and able to identify an individual's immediate need. A lot of times people in crisis situations or people that are frustrated will say a lot of things that they don't necessarily mean in the moment, and you have to be able to decipher that and help them to calm down and work with them and find out what the real issue is. And that goes along with working with emotionally distraught people because a lot of them are. And you need to be a great communicator and have written and verbal skills. Being able to tell a story on social media and draw people to your posts is pretty important, and also how you communicate with pet owners can sometimes directly affect how their pet is treated afterwards. So what I see as the future of PASS is to partner with vet clinics. This is sort of my dream. The one area that we seem to be lacking in is not having enough medical help when people's animals get hurt or sick and they have no money, and I mean no money for a vet, even for a low-cost vet, and they don't qualify for care credit. These animals are sick and in pain, and to be able to not even get a pain meds for your dog or your cat and leave them in pain is very difficult for me. It's very difficult for the pet. It's very difficult for the pet owner. It's heartbreaking. And so I'm hoping to maybe get more vet clinics to work with us on some kind of services to provide more for these people. Fence building for community members to get dogs off of chains in rural communities. In the city of Austin, that's illegal, but in the county areas, it is not. So a lot of times people just need help with some fencing and things like that. Partner with dog trainers and cat behaviors for people. I think a lot of people would be able to keep their pets if they had the ability to have some donated training for a little bit to just get them on the right foot at least. Ongoing fundraisers to provide dog houses for people, crates for people, and other items that would help them keep their pets. A lot of times I get calls from people that think people are being neglectful, but a lot of times people just don't have the resources, and they want to do better. And if you can help them and help that dog stay at home, it's usually better if you can do that than the dog to be removed or maybe end up in the shelter. So kind of looking towards the future for those things, and having more partnerships to help people in the community so that we can keep more pets out of the shelter, which helps to keep your city a no-kill city. It certainly helps to keep Austin a no-kill city so that we can keep more pets out of the shelter and have more live outcomes. So that's kind of a overview of the PASS program. If you have any questions about it or would like more information on starting one in your area, I would be happy to give you some resources or some advice. You are welcome to email me at PASS, again, just like a school hall pass, PASS, at austinpetsalive.org. Or you can visit our website under Get Help, and there's a link to the PASS program there. So I hope that gave you a little idea of what we do with our PASS program, and I hope that it will give you what you need to start one in your own area in the future. Thank you very much for being here today.